how much is this salad?
$2.
Well, I'm not sure that I have that much. Dollar. Here's some more. Here's some more.
All right, $1.52. There you go, lady.
Thank you. Napkin?
Surely.
That's my salad. That's my salad. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
The fundamental principles concerning eating are straightforward. If you don't eat, you pass out. Regardless of how you choose supper, you will before long be ravenous over again. People share closeness in the stomach size. No matter how a lot of cash you have, there is only so much you can eat. We eat whenever life becomes emotional, at weddings, funerals, birthdays, or at inviting home. And when one goes to a social gathering, where a meal is a part of it, one of the first things people might want to do is to locate you in a structure pool.
Structure and anti-structure are both anthropological terms that have been used to describe the modalities of social relationship and social reality, in which there are always what Victor Turner calls communitas can leak out.
In our daily life, we are continually sticking with structures in different forms. Marriage is an attribute of structure, same as in all levels of hierarchy in companies.
You are in structure when you are concerned with who people say you are, where you went to college, where the confirming society says your social location is, and so on. That is what you are in structure.
In societies with a degree of complexity, there are institutions, social rules, corporation, and a wide variety of what can be called social objects. And there is obviously a connection between the way people think and behave and social domination. Social reality is everywhere around us. It is the reality perceived by individuals, and there is subjective versions of it. In addition, the version deformed by the cumulative subjectivity of the community.
Someone told me recently of his trips to Europe where he talked with many people in restaurants in Greece, Italy and France. They never asked him, "What do you do?" They asked him, "What do you think about such and such?" or "How do you feel about such and such?" By contrast, in America, they want to ask you, "Well, what do you do?" Then they feel they have a pigeonhole for you and they do not have to pay any attention to anything except your persona. Once they get you nailed in a persona category, they think they have you. That is what Turner means by structure. America has the most modern culture and modernity has come to its highest focus in American culture. Therefore, it is interesting that you get such a clear sense of structural issues even here, while in Europe the structure is there and is written in granite too.
Turner, who was interested in the interplay between what he calls social structure and anti-structure, has defined the anthropological usage of communitas. Communitas means, in short, the kind of social relationship that focuses on the equality of people and their lack of status differences. It exists where conversations are true and spontaneous. The temporary social formation of equality and solidarity, emphasized by the spirit of Ramadan, is a form of communitas. There is a strong bond attaching people together, regardless of the formal social structure. It is the kind of experience that occurs to individuals in New York City when the lights go out. Just human beings in it together, all in an equal footing.
Even here at CBS News.
Lights.
Pilgrimages are sort of experience where communitas breaks out. It affects your mind and a primal bonding occurs. You get connection over all limits or boundaries. The Islamic pilgrimage to Mecca is like that. People rub shoulders together, talk, eat and share food with each other who might never meet before. Clifford Geertz's classic study of symbolic anthropology, The Religion of Java, begins with the slamtan, a ceremonial meal, as a key to Javanese views of the world of matter and spirit. The food is wrapped in banana leaves and served by women to men who are seated on the floor. One of Geertz's informants said, all kinds of invisible beings come and sit with us and they also eat the food. That is why the food and not the prayer is the heart of Slamtan. Food reveals much about people and their lives. And such was also the case for those who lived during the horrors of the Holocaust. In Memory's Kitchen, a legacy from the women of Terezin. A book that written by undernourished and starving women in the Czechoslovakian concentration camp of Terezin. In which the sheets of paper are as brittle as fallen leaves. The faltering handwriting changes from page to page, the words, a faded brown, are almost indecipherable. Pages are filled with recipes. Each is a memory, a fantasy and a hope for the future.
Four years back in 2016, in a weekend I welcomed my uncle at my place. And while I was going to wash my face, I heard him spinning spoon in a glass. So I just went to say good morning and to offer him assistance, but he was already done. He prepared his morning drink, a warm water with lime and honey.
You can eat a whole sheep alone on the off chance that you drank this thing first, or if you already finished the entire sheep, it is worth to drink this after as well.
Before he leaves, he left me a 2-liter gallon of decent quality of mountain honey that he brought from Yemen. And in short time, I get used to have it every morning while I prepare my favorite omelette or even while putting on my clothes. Few mornings later, I get used to manage the time to do that daily excursion, making a clear mindset and spend a few minutes of inner peace before starting my day. In the sense here, I understood the difference. Only now I brought up an intention to an everyday habit. Subsequently, it turned into a wake-up ritual. As communitas was a significant term for Turner's concept of anti-structure, liminality is a kind of experience that common to the communitas, and a component of anti-structure as well. For a substantial range of people, the term liminal space might be something that's new, yet it is potentially one of the most widely perceived spaces that individuals might end up in. It is a conscious awareness of knowing that you don't know something.
Liminality is this shaky moment when we slow down as the scenery calls us to pay attention. A liminal space is where we have left one room but not yet entered the next. When something genuinely new can occur. That happens in performing the rituals that accompany social changes, as people go through transformations, for instance, from being a child to an adult, single to married, or in the life of the group, from peace to war or in the change of seasons.
In a folky neighborhood in Arab countries, when hundreds gather in a large tent in a small street that gets inaccessible, one may prepare to congratulate, or the other way around. It might be a wedding or an occasion for expressing condolence and sympathy. And if it was the second one, then serving coffee for the attendees will take a main part in the ceremony. It's tradition, and no one will offer you another beverage. Water for sure, but not a cappuccino. Attendees who are sitting on so uncomfortable chairs take a sip of their coffee in a cup that doesn't look well washed, and the coffee is offered with no sugar, and for the most part has lost its thick top layer of froth, which is the most delightful part of the coffee addicts. It is regularly a part of the general public's habit code, by no means to eat between meals, in order that not solely the meals but also the spaces between them are controlled. And this turns each shared family supper into a mini feast. By referencing to having family dinner when I was in elementary school, we used as a family to gather around the dining table and sharing lunch together at 4 o'clock. And that remained until we moved to a larger house where my family still lives right now. Indeed, it was a pleasure for my mother to have a kitchen which is multiple times bigger than the Baigan one. Thus, there was a luxury of space that lets in the presence of a small table that was described through my mother as a serving counter for cutting vegetables or having a brisk breakfast. And it seems that its dimensions have been exactly matched to go well with that purpose. But then, day after day, at the end, this unpleasant table, which almost can serve 2 or 3 of us, took away the place of our big dining table. The large 8-seater table settled in the main living hall of the house, as if it was an antique. The kind of sacred activity that we eat together, the 4 of us, has been ended. we likewise lose the intention. Before we had a basic dining table that brought us together, while now we have a service table that put us far apart.
I don't want to labour this point. We were building our case up on the no need for it. But in any case, if the government's going to come to we people and say, well, you've got to do it, if you don't, we'll send you to jail for 7 years and fine you £5,000. Well, gentlemen, that's the law. I don't know what you're going to do about the law.
Well, like the chairman said, it's the law and there isn't much we can do about it, is there? That's what an old age pensioner, Mrs. New, said when I took her first day's ration. One small loaf for me and my husband, she said. What do you think I'm going to do with this? And here's an old customer of mine, Miss Hunt. She keeps house for her 2 brothers and sisters and an aunt. For the 5 of them, she gets 45 bread units a week, a large loaf and a small loaf a day, and £2 of flour at the weekends. Next on my round is Mrs. Sevier. Her husband works in an office and she's got 5 growing youngsters. She lays out her 45 units on a big and a small loaf a day, and that leaves a bit over for flour to put in the weekend cake for the kids.
Bread, initially and for the majority of humans, grew to be and has remained a profoundly significant symbol, an honored and sacred substance.
So there you are, and here I am. I could do with being a bookkeeper. That we'll get through somehow.
Yet in other cases, nowadays, there might be some symbols which have been lost its meaning. Or in other words, many are not giving their intention of food beyond the biological need.
One guy seems shocked.
Oh my God, yo.
It happened at a Checkers outside Baltimore, and it gets worse. After the employee wipes the bun on the floor, she spreads mayonnaise on it.
Go drop me your bun.
And this is what intrigued me to think why I personally look into bread as a consecrated substance.
By having a look into the Bible as well, the expression breaking of bread is a way of describing a shared meal. Yet, it is used in a significant and symbolic way. At the Last Supper, when Jesus ate with his disciples, he broke the bread and offered it to every one of them. He called the bread, my body which is for you, and taught them to break bread together.
In the Egyptian society, no matter being in a poor or rich community, people use the slang expression عيش وملح in many occasions, which means literally bread and salt. Bread and salt are definitely the master of food. عيش comes from العيشة, while salt refers to the continuity, by keeping good things and memories between people for a long time, as salt do in food.
والشمس هلت بالأمان
From all that has been said, it follows that how food is experienced has everything to do with the intention. And it's all about the company. Eating around the table means talking, sharing, but also bonding. And when it comes to having a meal, for instance a supper, it would be delightful to be aware of this equation, to do things right, yet meaningful. A special meal in the right setup could be a reminder that food feeds more than the physical body.
Oh my God. Oh my Lord.
Anybody got anything? Can you make some change to eat? Please, man. Starving.